welcome everyone. Welcome to the Total Truth Show. And here on the Total Truth Show, we want to help you break free from the lies and propaganda of the mainstream media, all the disinformation and misinformation. We want to help you blast through all of that. And my name is Ken Kleinberg, coming to you all the way from the USA, San Diego, California.
And I'm Alden Altanay, known as the Media Queen from the Gold Coast in Australia.
There is a great awakening happening in the world right now, and you're going to want to come along for the ride.
A lot of lies are coming to the surface. There's a lot of awakening happening. And as this awakening is happening, people realize they've been deceived for years. They've been lied to for years around all sorts of things. A lot of people have been blind to what has been going on in the world, and now they're starting to see. They're starting to see things in a different light.
Through our show, we want to raise global consciousness to quantum critical mass. And we don't want you just to accept the things that we're saying. That goes for our guests as well. We want you to do the research for yourself. Get out there and start questioning things. Start looking things up. Do the research. We want to pave the way for a new awakened world. And we want you to come along for the ride. So with that, let's get started, you guys. Let's dive into today's episode. Once again, welcome.
Yes, welcome. Episode 61. Welcome to Total Truth Show. We're going to be chatting about the truth about your customers today. Great to see you, my co-host, Ken Kleinberg from San Diego. How are you going today?
Doing great. Well, it's hot summer over there for you. It's still cold winter for us. So polar opposites, literally.
Well, I feel for you, and I'm sure you'll be feeling for us in 6 months' time. So, so welcome aboard. Great to have you. And of course, our amazing special guest today, Christine Bell. A little bit about Christine. She's an absolute expert on this topic. She is the founder of Christine Bell Customer Strategy, which trades as Sparkit Insights and Strategy. I like that, Sparkit. We need some more spark in life. I love that. 25 years international experience she has as a strategist, an insight specialist, and workshop facilitator in advertising, branding, and innovation and market research. She helps small business owners and entrepreneurs grow their business to their desired legacy level by empowering them to strategically build a successful, sustainable business. Welcome aboard, Christine.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Now, you're based in Sydney. However, you do have an accent. So let's give people a little bit of background about your heritage and what brought you to Sydney.
Yes, I do have an accent, and there's some words I can't pronounce that well, including target market. But anyway, I'm from Denmark originally. I was born and raised in Denmark, but I always had a desire to travel and see the world and be adventurous. I used to have a little globe, those little globes with the light in it. I used to imagine where I was going to go in Australia. It was one of the places, actually, because I was so far away from Denmark, But I went to high school in America for a year as an exchange student. Then I came back to Denmark, did my degree there and in business and marketing. And then I got the chance to go to South Africa and study at the MBA down in Cape Town, which was amazing. And I did my thesis for my degree in Denmark in Johannesburg as well, which was amazing, understanding different cultures and how we interact with each other and brands. And then I got to get my first job as a strategist at Ogilvy and Mather in Cape Town many, many years ago. Then I lost my work permit. And I didn't want to pay money under the table to stay in South Africa. So I went to London for 6 years. And that was great for my career and great for home. It was close to home, but I didn't love it. So I thought, let's do something else. So I started looking around for jobs. And lo and behold, I got offered a job in Sydney. And I thought, why not? I was single at the time. I thought, I'll just go to Sydney. I have a job. I'm going to get paid. And if I don't like it, I'll just go home. And 18 years later, I'm still here.
It sounds like you picked up quite a strong London accent, actually. That sounds pretty prominent in your speech.
Oh, really? No one ever actually tells me that. They usually go South African. My husband is American, just to add a little bit more of a mix into it. So I don't know what it is. It's mine.
I don't know. I just heard some London in there. I was just like, there it is.
Yeah, there's a little American in there too. There's a bit South African. There's a lot of Danish, I think. And I don't know. It's all mixed together, yeah.
I can hear a little bit of South African more so. But yeah, it's interesting. Wherever you're from in the world, I'm sure the accents will pick up differently. But basically speaking, you've been everywhere, Christine. You've been right around the world, and you're bringing all of that global experience to this topic today, the truth about your customers. And I'm sure for anyone in business, this is so crucial. So what is the 101 basics of what we need to do to make sure that we have more customers and happier customers?
The number one thing that I would recommend based on my experience is this: connect with them at a heart level, connect with them emotionally, first and foremost.
Yes.
Once we connect with them emotionally, this is how we make decisions about people. We all do it very quickly about products, services, and people. We make that decision very, very quickly, and then we go to look for confirmation that that was the right decision. So now we start looking for the rational proof points afterwards, but it's usually to confirm what we already felt. And there's an energetic exchange too that we don't talk so much about, but there's very much energetic and immediate.
Yes, I love that. And I think particularly since COVID, this pandemic we talk about here on the show, particularly since that, I think people don't know who to trust nowadays, right? So more so, I think, people need more touch points to do business with you now, I believe. I think it used to be sort of 7 to 11. I think now it's, more than that. People need to see you, hear you, feel your energy. And of course, some people are going to love you and some people are going to hate you, and that's okay, right? The more you put yourself out there, you're going to get both extremes. However, the main thing is be true to yourself and do the right thing by your customers. I think for a lot of people, particularly in Australia, they get paid not to work, right? We actually have this thing called Centrelink, and, we pay people not to work here in Australia. And so for a lot of people, they can be very lazy because the government will look after you if you don't work. And of course, we're one of the highest taxed countries in the world as well. So for those that do work, you're going to get taxed a hell of a lot so you can look after those who don't work and don't want to work. And I'm sure there's people who do want to work that can't find work as well. However, a lot of people do rip off the system. And so in Australia, there's this culture, a very, very bad customer service culture, I would say, because generally speaking, people want the most amount of money for the least amount of work. Whereas in America, you have tips, right? People are actually encouraged to sort of give a little bit better customer service because you have tips. Not necessarily that they actually do give better customer service, but it can be a real cultural thing as far as how to deliver great customer service. So what are your thoughts around that, Christina, the way things are going, particularly since the pandemic?
So yes, I have a lot of thoughts about this, but let me try and bring it back to the customers. I think we as human beings, and I'm moving a little bit away from what you're saying, but we'll get back there. I think we as human beings are bombarded with information, yeah?
Yeah.
Possibly on purpose. So we're bombarded with information from everywhere. And we're living busier and busier lives, even, whether it's work or hobbies or family or whatever else, we're just living very busy lives. And what happens is that we don't remember much, yeah? Because we've seen so much stuff coming at us the whole time, and a lot of different types of information coming at us that often are not in alignment with each other, depending on where you're looking for information. And with this in mind, what happens is that we don't remember very much. Yeah. So back to your first point around, back in the old days, I think they said you needed to see a brand like 7 or 8 times to start remembering it. I think they say I don't even know how many times it is now and what the research says. So I'm not going to give a number, but it's a lot more. And, you go on social media, see all these things, and people are saying, well, why can't I get any traction, etc. It's like, well, they probably don't remember you, because how much do you remember at the end of the day when you watch LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, YouTube, etc.? How much do you actually remember at the end of the day of what you saw that day, what messages was coming through? Not much, yeah?
No.
So it's really hard to get traction. So how else do we get traction? It's obviously, one, we do need people to actually notice us. Yeah? No doubt about it. We need to get noticed. We also need them to connect with us. And then we need them to bring them in, engage them enough to bring them in to have an experience with us, whether that's a one-on-one conversation or it's through something we offer for free or class. I don't know, if you're a service business, whatever it is, our product, we need to have an experience. That's when we start remembering more. Yeah. And that experience has to be a good experience. Back to your thing around customer service. Yeah, it has to be a good experience. Now, I think some cultures like America have historically been trained through their system to give great service, yeah? Not always. Some of the airlines don't give great service in America, based on my experience.
Yes.
But that's just my point of view. But
Don't
most
fly
of us.
Delta.
American
Well, we
Airlines.
can always
too,
name
I think.
brands. I think most of them, yeah. But basically, we have to get a great experience. And so I think, for some of us in this world where we've grown up in cultures where there wasn't much emphasis in this, we probably didn't learn it naturally in our way of being to focus on what the other person needs and wants from us. Yeah. So once we go into business, suddenly we're having to actually give something to people for them to be interested in us and to like us and want to work with us. And if we haven't been trained in a culture like that, that can come as a bit of a shock if you're a service business. Yeah. That suddenly it's a lot more than just what you offer. You also have to come with an experience that people enjoy, that they like, that they feel good in your experience. Yeah. That they feel good with being with you or using your product. Does this make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. And, we can always do our best to deliver the best customer service we can. However, sometimes we fall short. And so what are some ways to make sure that we, as much as possible, have amazing customer service that we deliver? Like, how would you recommend to sort of monitor that, or what sort of systems would you set up maybe around that to make sure that you have consistent customer service and great customer service and can find ways to wow your customer?
Yeah, so there's a number of ways to do this and a number of steps to it as well. And there's a number of different point of perspective on it. One is your customer's perspective. Yeah. What is their journey? What is the journey they're on in your category? And the journey can be shorter or longer depending on what category you're working in. So if you're a chocolate bar, the journey is fairly short. Yeah. If you are a service business that's charging $10,000, I guess, the journey is going to be a bit longer. They need more touch points. They need much more in terms of moving them on the journey to the point where they say, yes, I'm going to spend $10,000 on this service. So then you have to look at what are all the touch points and what is the journey looks like. So you need to first do your research to understand what are the steps in the journey in your category that your customers are likely to go on, from awareness, building awareness, even knowing you exist, to actually having an interest in you, to actually having a desire for what you do, to actually making a purchase. And also on the other side, to keeping them loyal, because we want loyal customers as much as possible, either for them to return, to buy more from us, or to refer us. Yeah, that's where the gold is. And now that's one perspective of it. On the other side, you got you and your service or your product. So you also need to look at you and who you are and what you are delivering and what is your part in that journey, building awareness, interest, desire, and action. What is your part in it? And how do you come across in that part to build know, like, and trust? It's all about know, like, and trust by the end of the day. Even if you're a product, but especially if you're a service, know, like, and trust. And how can you build that? Now, my perspective is there are different ways to get people to buy. There is definitely, and I'll just touch on this quickly, that's not what I recommend, but we've seen it in the media for the last many years, several years, especially since COVID. Fear sells, no doubt about it. And if you watch the media, you'll see fear, 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 and we're going to keep you safe. That has been the message, and it's come across loud and clear. And that has impacted people in a way to behave in certain ways. Yeah. It's also come with a bit of guilt. If you don't do as we say, then X, Y, Z. Yeah. So there's that incentive to make you behave in a certain way as well. Now, my perspective on things coming as a small business owner, not working with the big corporates so much anymore, but working for myself with a small business owner and entrepreneurs. For me, the way to build loyalty long-term is not through fear. It's about making people feel good, or actually feel good using our product and service and being in our space and being in our energy. And that's a very different approach to marketing than fear. So I recognize that fear sells, but it's not what I promote. It's all about taking a step back and really understanding who you are, what you add to the equation if you are a service business, especially if you're the intellectual property that is actually having a direct relationship with the client. Then what is the experience you want them to have in your energy? That is authentic to who you are, because we can't make up who we are. So we have to be true to who we are. We have to be able to deliver on it. So trying to fake it, we're probably not going to make it long. for long term. But if we are truthful in who we are and how we show up, because we know ourselves, so we've done our personal development journey, we understand who we are, we understand our own triggers, then we're able to show up in a way where we actually have time and space for someone else, because I'm no longer triggered by what my clients say to me as much as I used to, because I've done my work, which means I can hold space for them. And there's nothing more that people like is to feel seen, heard, acknowledged, and respected. Now that is where we build loyalty. This is where we build know, like, and trust and connection long term. Now, fear can sell quickly if we do it enough at people, but it doesn't build long-term relationships, because ultimately there's nothing in the outside world that anyone can give us that will help change how we feel fear on the inside. It's an inside job, and they're able to reach people who still have a lot of fear in them. Yeah, because they haven't worked on their own fears. So that's a difference.
I have a question. So, and by the way, nice way of like bringing the difference between fear and, actually selling with making that connection. I really like that. Man, can I speak a lot on the fear aspect with the media, and I would love to dive into and just go off about that, as I have on previous episodes, but that is not my question. But just for the audience, you guys, I have to preface this, and I have to say, in light of what Christine said about the fear and the fear porn that the media constantly puts towards us, stop watching the media. Turn it off and start watching alternate sources. All right, that's it for that. Now, on to what I want to say.
We'll come back to this.
I had to say something. So, Christine, you don't know about my story. So 13 years ago, I was at the heaviest weight of my life. I'm a 5 foot short guy, and I was weighing in at 188.5 pounds. And it just wasn't a fun time with me, for me. I could barely bend down to tie my shoes because my belly was so big. I was getting winded at simple tasks. There was a lot of different things going on. I knew I needed to lose the weight, but the idea of going on another diet really just did not please me. So I decided in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to lose this weight, but I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it the way I want to. I'm going to have my cake and I'm going to eat it too. I am not going to upturn my life. I'm not going to upturn my schedule. I'm going to make this work in a way that it works for me. And so I embarked on that journey. And one small step at a time went through that journey. Now, because I did it the way I did it, my way, it took me 5.5 years to lose 62.5 pounds. However, that is probably the best thing that could have happened to me. And the reason why the fact that it took so long was the best thing, because now looking back on hindsight, I see exactly what happened. I allowed enough time for the changes and new habits, the small changes and small new habits that I kept adapting into my life, stacking on and staying consistent with. I allowed enough time for those to then literally sink in and become part of who I am, which is why for the last 6 or more years, I've been able to keep the weight off sustainably, easily, without even thinking about it. This is the problem that I help people solve. Not just so much how to lose the weight, because a lot of people I talk to, they know what they have to do. Yeah. I do provide education around all that, of course, and I have a foundation to start them on. But I want to help them to make it the last time they ever have to think about losing weight ever again by producing sustainable, long-lasting changes. Now, I think that alone is a very, very, very powerful message. And my testimony is a very powerful testimony.
I agree.
Nonetheless, it's very hard. It's been very hard for me to get people through the door into my program and into what I teach and to help them become free. Another thing that's also part of my brand is helping people literally punch through the disinformation and lies of the health and wellness industry and food industry out there that has kept them stuck, sick, and overweight for years, because that's how that system makes money. I literally have a passion to break them free of that by teaching them how to look past the deceptions out there.
Yeah.
Total Truth Show is actually also part of my brand, because big part of my brand is I'm giving you the truth. I'm bringing you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. So thus, this is also an extension of my brand. Now, and all that, I guess you would say my pain point when it comes to someone like you with your services, my pain point, I guess you would say, is even though I've got a powerful message, and even though I've done tons of reels, I've done tons of all kinds of different things, different types of content, written, long form, short form, reels, TikTok videos, to get more of a presence and to have it be more regular, to be in front of more people and to get more exposure. It's still been a challenge getting people through the front door. What would you say about my scenario, and how to kind of like start breaking free of that? Because I've hired other coaches. I had a coach months ago that I hired at $750 a month, astronomical, broke a lot of the extra capital that I had in my business. And in the beginning, it worked, but then he started having me make some adjustments and changes in a way to where I really felt like it wasn't my voice anymore.
Okay.
And his program worked for him and for the audience that he had, which was mostly entrepreneurs, speaking to entrepreneurs. Here's how you make money, da 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 da. It was that kind of thing. And then he was trying to help me apply all of that into my brand, and it wasn't working. So now I'm kind of left sitting here going, what now?
I hear you. And I wish there was a quick, simple answer, and here's your solution. There's a number of things that comes to mind when you ask me this question. So it's like there could be issues or things we need to look at in different areas that could be playing into it. So there's a number of things that could play into it. One, customer mentality. First, we want to identify our ideal customers, not just in terms of age and their weight and stuff, but what is their motivation? And what are their beliefs around losing weight and eating healthy? What are actually the beliefs that could be significant drivers in the way? Because beliefs drives decision directly. That's been proven in research. So we need to understand their beliefs. And some of them they may be conscious of, and some of them they may not be conscious of, because they've been trained for so long in a system that's told them, this is good for you, this is bad for you, lose weight this way, do it this way, yeah? There's also been so many out there selling quick fixes, yeah? Everyone loves a quick fix, yeah? Yes. You know, there's a huge appeal in quick fix, yeah? Because we don't really necessarily want to deal with the underlying issues that we would have to deal with, which you have because you took the slow route and you went, I'm going to look at everything. So you got things that are coming through in terms of, are they really motivated? You know, how much are they really motivated to lose weight? Yeah, we want it until we have to do the work.
Yeah, true.
So one is we need to understand your ideal customers. They would say your ideal customers you're speaking to are people who are willing to go to the root causes. They're willing to change. They're willing to take the time it takes. They're willing to do it step by step rather than, you know, a quick Tony Robbins fix. Yeah. And I've never been to him. I'm sure he's great. So I'm not going to put anything bad on him.
You're hitting
but you know
bullseyes.
That mentality.
Yep. You've got it. You're hitting the bullseyes. Keep going.
So once we understand that and we understand what the motivations and which ones you are aligned the most with and what's driving them and what their beliefs are, we can start actually aligning our unique value proposition and our competitive edge and what makes you special, your superpower, and the messaging directly to their motivation. A lot of people say when they look at the customers, they go, oh yeah, this age, this industry, and it's like, yeah, that's all great. But we need to understand their motivations and we need to understand their emotional pain points and how they want to feel emotionally and what their beliefs are and what problem they think they're solving. We need to understand how motivated they are to make those changes the way you offer it. So that's one thing. Really getting clear on that, because now we can start. You might have great messaging, but it might be speaking to many different people who are not in it for the long game or in it for the short game. And there's no point talking to people who are in it for the short game. It's simply not your customers. You're never going to please them because they want a quick fix and you're not giving them that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and it also, now you got also underneath that, you got the individual. What is suppressing? Where did the overeating come from? Or how did they gain the weight? What happened? What is it? Are there wounds? This is personal development. I'm not actually an expert in this, but I've been on the journey for 9 years now. Yeah. Because the one thing you learn in business is you better get clear on your own mindset and your own health in terms of your personal development if you want to be in business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we need to then understand within that, you may be, the customers you have, they may not be ready for it because they haven't dealt with this in here. Yeah. They're like, yeah, I want it until I have to do it. So there might be a part of your offer that may have to address that, or we at least need to know we're not, that could happen. That is an absolute, I want it, but I don't want it, so not enough to sign up for it. Yeah. So that's a barrier. We need to be aware of that. And you may have to work, I'm assuming you may have to work with your customers around your clients, around what is actually going on deep inside. What are those wounds from childhood that are keeping them in that circle of, trying to lose weight, and they do it for a month and then they fall down again. Yeah. It's like quitting smoking. I've done a lot of research into smoking for big clients, with the patches and whatever. And it's quite clear there's this sense of, if you try to stop enough times, it gets harder and harder to make that commitment over time, because you failed. The more you fail, the harder it is to pick it up again. Mm-hmm. So you also got that vicious circle. So I'm saying understanding your customers in more depth mentally and psychologically is quite important, because it plays a direct role in them being open to what you have to offer, which is the right way, the long way, the slow way. Yeah. Working on everything. Then there's reach. Reach is, are you in the, reaching people when we just talked about the noise. People are in so much, have so much going on, so much happening. So they might think, yeah, one day that's me. Yeah. And then next day I've forgotten about Ken, because someone is shouting louder, who has sponsors behind them or a brand behind them with lots of money. Yeah. So as a small business owner, we are up against big clients, big companies that have budgets for this. Yeah. Yeah. And they are everywhere in their face. So they might have thought Ken is great, forgotten about Ken the next day, and pick up something else. So that seems easier, cheaper, because I want the quick fix, really. Yeah. I don't really want to do that hard yards. So that could also be a thing. And then how do we change it? Well, definitely we want to get really clear on what's right, the superpower you add to it, your brand positioning, your unique value proposition, and aligning it to motivation. So that's one thing. That's the strategy part that I work with clients on. But then we're still working on awareness, interest, desire, and getting them to act. So you still have to take them through that. And I don't know where you are in that journey with how many. Where are you? Are most of them, unaware? Are they most aware? A lot of people actually in the group of interest. Are they in the interest of there's a desire, but they are still evaluating you against 2 or 3 other options? Because most people, if there's, when it's something beyond a chocolate bar or something we're not that interested in that's cheap, we'll usually evaluate against a couple of other options. We cut it down because we can't evaluate against 6 different cars. So we'll cut it down to maybe 2. The same goes for your offer. So we'll cut it down and then we'll go, okay, let's evaluate it. But how many are actually in that group? And each of these different parts of the journey requires a different strategy.
Interesting. Now, another question that I have, I've always thought my superpower is the fact that I've been able to easily and sustainably keep my weight off for going on 6 years now. Would you say
who doesn't want that?
Yeah. Would you say that's my superpower, or would you say, just knowing about what I've shared with you, there's something else that I should also be honing in on?
I would say that your superpower is deeper than that. That's not to say that resilience isn't your superpower and commitment isn't your superpower. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you definitely are showing signs of that's what you bring it to in terms of going the yards, going the long yards, and doing the right thing and really learning what is the truth about how best to lose weight. And most people will probably argue, because we had information from so many different ways, and there's fads, diets, and all these things for so many years. Yeah, we're all grown up with this. Most people are confused. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So just because you know the right way doesn't mean they believe it's the right way, because they've been, we've all been impacted by all the different messages, right or wrongly, and all the different fads and all the different diets and all the different ways to do this,
Yeah.
So we're all deeply confused, kind of like what's happening in the market at the moment, in other areas too right now, in terms of what's happened in the last few years. People are genuinely confused,
Yes.
They don't know what to believe anymore. So you also got this disbelief. on top of potentially I failed so many times. So you got all these barriers. So you need to identify the barriers for your ideal customers, and then we need to address them in the messaging and in the way we come across. But back to your superpower. Now, one of the ways to find your superpower is to go back to childhood and go, what did you love doing and what was it? And find actually the attributes. Were you adventurous? Were you resilient? Were you good at connecting? What is it that you bring to it when you work with people? Because I'm assuming you work with them on one-on-one, or is it all like a DIY do-it-yourself course?
Well, I do have an online course, but right now my higher preference is one-on-ones.
Yeah. So that means you get to know them. So actually what you bring to that, there will be something else you bring into them, whether it's through motivation, through being able to see and hear people, make them feel respected, acknowledged, not feel shame. Because most people, if they have been overeating and they feel they're too overweight, most of them will have some kind of shame, some kind of guilt, some kind of lack of self-worth, all these things. And part of what you have to do is to also help them change.
That's part of my mindset
themselves.
series. So I've developed a whole mindset series where I have 7 different angles around mindset that helps them through things like that. Yes.
Yeah. So part of how you deliver that to them is your superpower.
That is intriguing. So that's the deeper superpower. Yeah,
we're going to look for the deeper superpower, especially when it's one-on-one and it's service-based, and it's something so important in terms of what your offer is so directly linked to how we feel about ourselves. Yeah.
Fascinating. Yes. Very fascinating.
So your job is not just to lose weight, it's also to make them feel good about themselves. Yeah.
Yes.
Feel powerful again, taking their power back.
Yes. And those are some other keywords that I use. Take your power back. Remember, you have a choice. You don't have to be a victim of your circumstances.
You can do this. Yeah. And this is what part of your superpower is to help them actually take that on board.
That's awesome.
To have that self-belief, and maybe look at what was a turning point for you, Ken, where you decided enough is enough and now you're going to lose all this weight. And I just did the calculation on that, by the way, in the background here, my little bit of investigative journalism. So 188.5 pounds equals 85.5 kilos for those who are in the kilogram world, as we often talk in kilos here in Australia. And so you lost 62 pounds, which brings it down to 126 pounds you lost, or you were down to 126 pounds. So 57 kilos you came down to. So you went from 85 kilos to 57 kilos, and you've maintained that for 6 years, which is extraordinary. And it's a great tagline to share what you've done. However, what I want to hear, if I was looking to lose weight, I would want to hear, what was the turning point for you? What was it for you where you actually thought, right, enough is enough? Because that's where people, I think, are going to relate to you on a heart level. Like they might be thinking to themselves, well, when are they going to get to the point, like Christine was saying, that people buy on emotions? They want to feel that emotion. They don't want to just hear the what of what you do. They want to hear the why you shifted. Right? Why you transformed?
I would say, so there was a couple of things. There's a number of things. There was every once in a while friendly jibes I would get from friends that pointed towards my weight. They meant it as kind of loving, friendly jab, but deep down inside it did. It hit. There was that. There was just there was the fact my clothes weren't fitting anymore. Every time I went to an event and wore some kind of nice suit, it got to the point to where I had to wear my pants unbuttoned and have the belt hide the unbuttoned pants. So that was just another thing, just inconveniences with my clothes. And then top it all off, the icing on the cake, if you will, was I developed very bad high blood pressure. And I also ended up, showing signs that if I continued down the road I was going on, I would either have a stroke or a heart attack. So those were my enough is enough points.
See, that's beautiful, Ken, right? See, now just by sharing that, I immediately go, oh my gosh, I can really relate to that. There's times I haven't been able to wear my clothes properly without bulging out the top of things. And oh my gosh, there's times that I've, felt really bad, or people have looked at me, or I haven't felt confident in my skin, or, these are things that your clients would relate to, right? And to get to the point where, oh my God, this could actually kill me if I don't do something about this. I could end up with serious health problems. You know, these are the things that people often don't think about. They think, oh, you want to lose weight. Well, why do you want to lose the weight? Do you want to tone up so that you feel sexy in a bikini? Or, you know, what is it for you? I mean, back in the day, there was the Rubenesque times where the big people were seen as voluptuous and beautiful and whatever. And now we have this thing that, you know, there's this thing that skinny people are beautiful. However, at the end of the day, it comes down to your health. It comes down to how you're going to live your life. Right? It's not necessarily whether you're big or small or whatever. It's how do you feel about yourself? And obviously your health will tell you, right? You'll start to get the warnings. You'll get things like diabetes, or, you know, there'll be little signs, as they say, you get hit with a feather or a brick or a Mack truck, right? And,
yeah.
A feather, a brick, or a Mack truck. So if we don't get the warnings in the early stages of, you know, maybe if you're feeling lack of energy or whatever it is, right? This is a great case study and a great example of ways that you could win customers over by sharing from the heart what's been happening for you. And the more people can relate to that, the more they may want to come and work with you. However, at the end of the day, people follow people, right? There's a great book that Sam Cawthorn did, says people follow people. Guy from Speakers Institute, one of my mentors, right? People follow people. We want to hear your story. We want to connect with you. And I think more so now, you know, people don't trust the mainstream media as much anymore because we've seen a lot of lies, a lot of propaganda, a lot of people have realized that they have been lied to for years around many different things. And now people are starting to question what's going on. They're starting to question the truth about health, the truth about the media, the truth about customers. You know, this is partly why our show came about, right? We want people to share their truth. And you're not going to necessarily agree with what we say here. And I do want to thank everyone who's joining us right now, actually from Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, on X or the old Twitter, also Instagram. We've got a whole lot of people here. We've got Mario Cortez, we've got Karen Collins, Jules Maddie, Smith, Maharshi, Raval, Prasad. We've got Boyd, Just Do It, OK3 is with us. And Angelique Pellegrino was a previous guest on Media Mavens show recently, actually talked about rapid transformation secrets. Good to see you, Angelique, one of our Mass Media Mastery members as well. Thank you so much. For all those who've joined us live, please let us know in the comments right now what you're getting from this conversation. And if you have any specific questions for Christine, pop it in the chat. And we would like to make this an interactive show with you and love to hear from you what you've been getting out of the show as we talk about the truth about customers. Now, I did also a little bit of extra research in the background while you guys were chatting away there. And I found out that there's something called the 7-11-4 rule. And it's a marketing strategy, 7-11-4. 7-4-11. And what this means is that a consumer needs 7 hours of engagement across 11 touch points in 4 separate locations. 7-4-11 marketing. So 7 hours of engagement across 11 touch points. So that could be SMS, email, different social media channels in 4 separate locations to actually want to do business with you, right? So we were talking about maybe 7 to 11 touch points. Well, now we're talking about 7 hours of engagement. So you might think that you're actively putting lots of content out there. However, how consistent are you over what length of time? And are you out there just wanting the quick customer, or are you actually giving a lot of great value? They say give, and then ask, right? So Christine, if we could talk about that, about how important it is to give before you ask for the business.
I think especially when we're a small business and we don't have the brand name or fame as some of the big brands who've been out there for a long time and are, you know, spending millions, billions of dollars on this. Yeah. If we're a small person, you know, a small business, we have to add value. It's a way to engage people. It's a way to get people to trust us, to be interested in getting to know us. And that's really, really important. So adding value is definitely what I'm all about. How can I best add value? How can I best give them the best experience, give them the most knowledge, give them the most of everything without, of course, giving away my own offer, for free. So it's kind of like, how can I add value on top of that? So it doesn't look the same for everyone. It's different for each business and different for each category and who you are as a person, your preferred way to show up. Yeah. So I think it's very, very important as a way to establish that credibility. It's something I've been doing, and it doesn't happen overnight either. Yeah. So I've been running free classes in Sydney before the lockdowns. I was running free classes and talks. Didn't even have an offer at the time. I just put myself out there. It was a way to figure out what people liked, wanted, and build my reputation and work out what the offer should look like. So doing that. Then the lockdowns happened and I had to go online and I was not comfortable. And I started doing webinars and I certainly wasn't that great at it the first year. But over the last 3 years, I have continuously, every week, not every week, every fortnight or every month, I've been putting out free classes online. And sometimes I have no one show up and I still do the class, yeah? Thankfully, I'm at a point now where I do have usually 20 to 25 people. Most of them are coldly, straight off LinkedIn, sign up for it. They don't all show up, but they sign up. So now I have a chance to keep, as soon as they show up to the class, I just give them so much value to the point people say you should be charging for that. I'm like, that's what I want to hear. That means I'm overgiving, because I don't know about you guys. I've sat through those, from the gurus, 1 hour free class. And I'm like, oh my God, there is nothing in here. And it's just 1 hour of sale with nothing. Yeah. And that really is me. I'm not going to use the word, but it really upsets me. It just frustrates me. It's like, why are you wasting my time? Yeah. So I thought I'm going to go opposite. I'm not saying everyone should do this. Everyone, I don't, depends on your category, what you are and etc. But for me, it's about adding a lot of extra value. So that's what I'm all about. I add a lot of value in my classes to the point where people say they should pay for it. And I'm like, yeah, but here you are getting it for free.
Yeah, I totally agree. I give heaps of content too when I do trainings and, above and beyond. And I think, share generously, be generous, and also consider, where is your mindset at? So for example, if you're saying to yourself, it's hard to find customers right now. Okay. Now, if at any point you've said that, had that conversation with yourself, I recommend just to notice, right? Just to stop yourself and shift the conversation. Like something I like to say is, money comes to me easily and abundantly. Money comes to me easily and abundantly, and actually really feel it. And I was actually going through the Think and Grow Rich, right? Think and Grow Rich, the book by Napoleon Hill. It is a classic all time. It is a book that has created more millionaires than anything else out there. And of course, as you have more customers, you have more money generally. If you're charging your customers, right, you will have more money that will come in. And the Think and Grow Rich principles are so important even to this day. And I just want to go through very quickly what they are, because we've touched on a few of them here already. And I'd love for those watching this, I can see we've got Yvonne here. We've got, I think Jeff Feel is with us as well. Those who are watching us live, which of these do you most resonate with out of the Think and Grow Rich principles from the book by Napoleon Hill? The first one is desire. Now, you mentioned desire, Christine, right? So what is your desire? The second one is faith, having faith in what you do. The third one is auto-suggestion. 4 is specialized knowledge, right? 10,000 hours of knowledge, they say we need to really have that specialized knowledge. The 5th is imagination. All great things started with an idea, right? Imagination. Next one is organized planning. Number 6, organized planning. Number 7 is decision, making a decision on something, right? 8 is persistence, right? How many people, back to the decision one, how many people procrastinate, right? Don't let procrastination get in the way of progress.
Or give up too early.
Yeah, or give up too early. Exactly. Persistence. The next one is the power of the mastermind. And this is when masterminds are so powerful. Get yourself in a mastermind or around a community where you've got masterminds and great people around you. The next one, the mystery of sex transmutation. That's an interesting one. And then we've got the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. Okay, so which of those do you resonate with most? Let us know in the comments. I'll go through again: desire, faith, auto-suggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision, persistence, the power of the mastermind, the mystery of sex transmutation, the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. Which one do you resonate with most? And I think this is absolutely crucial when we're talking about the truth about customers, because I think all of this comes into play when it comes to gaining more customers, as well as the strategy of, how you write your content, how do you address pain points, all that kind of thing. So out of those, Christine, which one do you resonate with most out of those 13 principles in Think and Grow Rich?
There were quite a few, and I just want to reiterate, it actually comes back to exactly what we talked about before. And you can have all the strategy, but you got to have the mindset. Personal development is key. Feeling confident in yourself, believing in yourself. Because if we don't believe in ourselves, how on earth, and I've had to work on this, how on earth is anyone else going to believe in us? Because the energy will transmute our lack of belief in what we offer, yeah? So we've got to believe in it. for me, faith has come through as a big one, as in I didn't see that one coming when I started business, that I was going to go on a spiritual journey, and here I am. And faith is very important, especially when things on the outside, external, doesn't look like how we feel on the inside and what we want to create. We have to keep having faith, and I mean real faith, like faith in terms of I used to be a control freak, and I'm letting go of that slowly, because control is not the way to manifest anymore. It probably used to be to some extent, but now, through just keep doing and motivating and all that. But now it's back to surrender, letting God, letting the universe, being open to things being different in how we saw it should happen, being open-minded. And so that's really important for me. Desire as well, and also imagination and mastermind. But there's a lot of others, but those are the ones I wrote down.
Yeah, love that. Thank you, Christine. What about you, Ken? Which ones resonated with you out of those?
I wrote down just two. So Power of the Mastermind was definitely one, and faith. Faith right now for me is very, very fresh. I just got off of one of Anna's like group calls in the quantum world, and she used a very interesting illustration when it came to faith. And, I kind of want to share that here. And the reason why faith is resonating with me on so many different levels and dimensions and all that other stuff. You take a woman, you take a pregnant woman that just got pregnant. Have they actually seen the baby? Do they actually know that there's a baby inside them? Or are they just always shown these images? And then all of a sudden through those images, the mother then switches her character. She now becomes a mother, even though she's never seen the baby. All she has seen is images on a screen, little photographs or whatever you call those things. But there is no actual real proof that the baby is inside her, obviously, until she gets big. But even still, when the tummy gets big, how do you know that that's actually a baby in there? By faith, that pregnant woman, by faith, latches on that there is a baby in there. By faith, she takes on the character of mom, then goes and starts to prepare her home for that baby by faith. And so that's kind of why the word faith right now means a lot to me, because that illustration was the one that Anna gave this morning was a very, very, very powerful one. I was like, I never actually thought of it that way. A pregnant mom never actually sees the baby until it's born. She's just told, she's supposedly given proof, but does it actually 100% know? It's just an interesting thing to think about. That kind of faith is what it takes. Interesting.
Yeah, and Anna Berger, we love Anna. She's been on our show before. She is a subconscious mind specialist out of Melbourne and does a lot of quantum work around the subconscious. And of course, that was one of the other ones in here, is the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense as well, that intuition. And I think if you have one customer, then there's opportunity for more customers. If someone has bought your product, then there's a market there for you. So I think also it's important not to get too hung up on how many customers you have and to sort of beat yourself up if you don't have as many as you'd like by a certain time. I think trust the process, go with the flow. Maybe there's some more learning, or maybe there's some repackaging that needs to happen. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed through the last few years, a lot of people who've been in the services industry have been repackaging up what they do because the times have changed, right? People so much don't want to just go and buy an online course anymore. I think people are paying more, they're investing more because they want that personal touch, they want that connection, they want community. So the more you can put that, I think, into your products and services as well, I think the more you will attract more people to what you do as well. What are some other things, Christine, you've noticed in the 25 years you've been in this field? What are some of the biggest changes that you've been noticing in customer service, or the truth around customers?
So one of the big things that when you look at big brands and having worked with them is there has been a huge shift towards cultural insights and also behavioral science. So, there's so much real research and insights into how you can actually manipulate or influence people to behave in a certain way and how to do that. So that has been a big shift in how, and big data, there's a lot of big data now, everyone is taking all our data all the way, and the big companies are paying for it. So they know exactly how we're behaving, yeah. And they know exactly how to push those buttons to sort of move you in the way and influence you in the way they want to. So that's the big trends that have been happening. At the same time as we're moving towards AI and the more sort of like robotic data and all that, and we feel kind of dehumanized. When that trend, and that I wouldn't even call it a trend anymore, it's here now, it's full on, yeah?
Yeah.
What happens with that is we live in a world of polarity. So when we have that happening on a mass scale, what it does bring about is a desire for real connection. So I'm all for AI, not because I use it. I don't actually buy into it. I'm sure there's a lot of great benefits to it. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it, but as long as it doesn't take over your thinking.
Yes.
But having said that, for me, I'm like, yes, bring it on, because I'm all about heart-centered business, yeah? So the more we have that, the more the need and desire for real human connection is going to grow, because we need to get balance in this universe. We're always living in polarity, and we want balance. So that's where the new trend is coming through. It's going to be through connection and real human interaction, because we're going to crave it the more we have the robotic kind of world. Going to a bar and robots are like doing your drinks. It's like, yeah, they might do a great drink, but we go to a bar for socializing, for human connection, yeah? So I'd rather have a real bartender that I can have a little chat with, and he might not make the drink as perfectly well, but I'm going to be happy because it's
Actually,
real connection.
you know what? You hit a little hot spot for me. I was it was a couple of years ago. I was at this one casino, and the person serving me the drink was a real person, but the system that they were using was a robotic system, an automatic system that gave the exact shot of alcohol. Now, I like a bartender that gives a little love every once in a while, gives you more than that extra shot than every once in a while. You know what they get because of that? They get an extra tip from me. This poor girl that gave me the drink, I looked at her and I said, I said, nothing against you. I said, but I can't give you a tip because you did not pour that drink with your personality. You poured that drink with an automated system, and it's literally taken the personality from you. And I think you hit a big point when it comes to interaction. Like, honestly, when I have the times where I'm scrolling a little bit and going through some reels, and I find a reel that it's obvious to me that it's AI created, that gets flipped off my screen as quickly as possible. Yeah. I'm very turned off by it, actually. Yeah. Like I said, you make a very powerful point. It's about the personal touch, more so now than it ever has been before.
Exactly. If you want to stand out now, remember the personal touch. That AI is no longer, it's upon us, yeah? So the new trend coming in is the personal touch, the real connection, back to really connecting with each other. And so that's one of the big things I see happening, and which is why I'm like, yes, I can do that. It fits right into who I am and what I am. And, if you worked on yourself and you become your authentic, become much more genuine and real in yourself, this is your home base, yeah? You already got it. So use it. And this brings you on to another things that I think is growing, which I've seen, especially in my area, marketing, your area too, Alvin. The freaking gurus, yeah? The gurus that come in and teaches you marketing, yeah?
Yes.
No
I'm getting burnt out on the gurus
experience
too.
whatsoever. No, nothing, and then they come with their system at you, yeah? You're going to do my system this way. One size fit all categories, all types of businesses. Do it my way, and you're going to make, how many do they promise you? 10,000 or 15,000 in the first month. And, these lucrative kind of like, who believes that, yeah? Unless you have access to a huge pool of your already customers, ideal customers who are ready to buy, and you already got a product and service that's working, it ain't going to happen for you, yeah? It's going to take time. And we are disillusioned. I think most people are becoming disillusioned. And a lot of people I speak to, when they come to me, they have wasted so much money on people and, lots of thousands of dollars in these programs, which are all group programs or DIY yourself. And you're like, what? And they come to me and they're like, it's not working. I'm like, well, No, because they didn't know what they were talking about. But they were good at selling it to you. They could sell anything to you. Yeah. So there's a lot of these personality who are, you're kind of very, what do they have? They have this charisma. Yeah.
Yes.
They have this sort of thing about them. They go on stage. I'm not going to name names, but there's one in Australia that rings a bell that I've heard of, and I've seen him on live. He goes on stage, 300 people there, brought in, and they all came in cold. They all wanted to get a piece of him. Yeah. He tells his heartbroken story about, how bad and his, dyslexia and whatever else he suffered from. Yeah. Then he sells them all on this $50,000 a year course. Yeah. No one ever sees him. He never shows up. So it's all his coaches underneath him who are paying off the program that they bought into and couldn't afford. So now they've become free coaches, yeah, to pay it off. And those are the ones. And it's like most people, end up in a huge amount of debt, yeah. There's no strategy in it. There's one size fit all, taught by people who've never walked the walk, yeah, they talk the talk, but they haven't walked the walk when it comes to working with real brands and really doing the hard yards in this, in marketing or whatever field they're in, and for me, that's thankfully I'm seeing people moving away from it more. But there are people out there who can sell their grandmother to you in 1 second and you'll buy them for $50,000, no questions asked.
Yeah, I would agree totally with that. There's a lot of overnight sort of geniuses, genius coaches or gurus, as you say. There's a lot of people who are now putting themselves out there as coaches. And I mean, they do say that if you know 10% more than someone else, you can teach it. However, just because their strategy worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So I do recommend that you do your due diligence properly before you decide to join someone. Right.
And do your research on your market, on your customers, and on the people you want to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Do your research properly. And I think there is a place for, for AI as well. I think AI has its
place.
However, and it can speed up things in business, especially with content and content creation, etc. However, I must say lately I've been looking on social media and a lot of the photos I've been seeing, I'm now questioning, are these real photos? Like when I see animals doing certain things, or I think, is this a real photo? Like I'm really questioning, is this a real photo? Is this a real person? Is this the person's real voice? Like we're questioning more and more, how real is the content that we're seeing on social
media,
aren't
we? And maybe it's on purpose, that this is what it's designed to do, is to make us not know what's right, what's wrong, what's real, what's not real anymore. So perhaps that's where we're moving to, and there are things that comes out that we see and we go, really, they did that? And you're like, well, they claim it's an AI, and how can we prove whether it's real or not? So we're coming into a world where, how do you trust anything? What's real, what's not real? And the same goes for content and pictures and stuff. So I try to be real, and I understand people sometimes have struggles with content creations. As long as you're the thinker behind it, that is on brand, is on message, by all means use ChatGPT to get new ideas of how to communicate it. But I see LinkedIn and I see people responding to my stuff, and I can see it's an AI, and I'm like I just not engage with them. I just don't engage. I literally look on LinkedIn for people I can see are real. And I like respond to me.
I like using ChatGPT for things like you said, for like getting ideas or strategizing with my business. Even finding my avatar. Like I've had it like help me strategize, like how to like zero in on my avatar a little bit more, and little things like that. And I will often use it to get ideas on how I want to word or phrase things when I'm producing content and stuff like that. Very rarely will I ever take what it spits out and just copy and paste. I would say probably 98% of the time, I literally I'll go, okay, I like the way I like the way that's worded. And then I might filter it through some other rephrasing, and then also add in my own if I'm at a spot to where I've got what you would call writer's block. But most of the time I use it for strategizing. I use it for ideas. ChatGPT is great for producing hooks. You get sometimes if I get it to produce like a list of 20 hooks, I'll go, okay, I like this piece of this one and I like this piece of this one, and I'll combine two of them together. That's a great way to use it. But using it in a way that takes away from the creative thinking mind I think is a very dangerous path to walk down, because eventually what you're going to end up is the next generation of people that don't know how to think.
Yep.
Exactly.
I think that's exactly where you're moving to. I just want to make one point. The key thing for me in messaging and in building your brand, consistency, one message, single-minded, and you keep it, that one promise, you keep it for years on end. This is what the big brands do really well. So whatever you say in your content must always ladder up to the same promise that is the most motivating for your ideal customers. This is what the big brands do. BMW, Nike, Taco Bell, yeah? That's the secret to what they do. It's the same message. They may execute it in different ways, but it always led us up to the same promise. And they do it for 10, 20 years in a row. This is why people remember it. This is why I can do research around the world on these big brands and I'll get the same associations regardless of which country, because they've done it succinctly and they've done it consistently and it's single-minded and they've done it for years. And small businesses go, this message today, this message today, this message today. No one remembers it. You have to put the same promise out in different ways that entertain and entices them and engages them. So creatively, how you execute it must be different, but the message must be the same. That is the biggest tip I can give anyone today.
I think I need to start doing that a little bit more as well. So
I just heard it.
My brand is Mastery Weight Loss, and underneath it is a tagline that says "Weight loss the way it's supposed to be."
Yeah,
and I need to use that.
What's the promise? And what's the promise? What is the promise you get? What is the big promise they walk away with emotionally, working with you and from your results from you?
Long-lasting and sustainable results.
So that makes that you can actually achieve. Yeah. So there's a part of it that you probably
more permanent and long-lasting results. So it's the very last time you ever have to lose weight.
Yeah. And you got to make it, you can achieve this, yeah? Because that's what's stopping them. That's one of the barriers, yeah? They don't believe they can do it after failing so many times, yeah?
Yes.
Disillusion. So if that's your promise, yeah? And it has to be about them. This is what they're getting out of it. This is something they can do. That's the one thing that everything in your content from now on must always, if you go, here's the content and what you write, you go, in your mind, you go, does that lead up to that promise? Does that actually talk to that benefit? Does it reiterate that benefit? And you do that. Everything must reiterate that benefit again and again and again. This is the only way to cut through and start having recall and memory and people remembering it.
Actually key. And I don't do that. So that's gold. Thank you.
It's a big
You're welcome.
So I have with mine, we say to be seen, heard, and known. Let's connect. We have that on everything. To be seen, heard, and known.
Yeah.
All right. And lately I've had a tag with be seen with the media queen. So you'll see a few reels of that, be seen with the media queen. So that still ties in with the to be seen, heard, and known.
Yeah.
Right. And I think of the big companies, I think of the little catch cries like think different for Apple, or, let's do it, or, some of those little catch cries. So I guess the simpler the better, really. Like, what are some other examples, Christine?
Well, that's the tagline. So absolutely the tagline has to be simple so we remember it. But behind the tagline is actually the brand promise, which doesn't have to, it comes from a brand promise that wasn't well worded necessarily, but it was right on in meaning. And that is also tied into the brand positioning. So those three are hand in hand. The tagline is just the way we actually express it in a way that people immediately go, oh, I remember that, like just do it. And how can you forget that or think differently? Yeah. But it actually comes from a bigger promise behind it. And very importantly, it has to think differently. It only has real meaning and memorability because it comes through in the way they do products. Yeah. So they've always, Apple has tend to always try to think differently out of the box in terms of products they brought out. Yeah. So it's re-emphasized in the product and service. It's credible because they do it in the product and service, the way they approach R&D and how they do their innovation. Yeah. It's reiterated in the whole brand positioning of the company, Apple, Mac, and everything. Is all about, creativity and being a bit more out there and user-friendly. So they have things as well that comes back to think differently, how they made it more user-friendly, for example, more creative with the Mac. Then they have in their messaging, it talks exactly to that. And the customer experience also need to deliver on that. It doesn't always deliver on that. And you could argue that the products have also now been watered down because they just do repeat rather than true innovation. But when they first started out, everything they did in their product, service, brand positioning, messaging, and their customer experience were encapsulated by think differently. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's where the
interesting.
power lies.
So could you give an example, Christine, say for your business? So what would be your promise for your business? What just to give people a bit of an idea of how this should look.
Yeah.
Ideally.
So my promise is connect, meaningful connections, something around that. I'm not going to say it directly, but meaningful, create meaningful connections with your customers. Yeah. And in there is taking charge of your strategy as well. So I'm playing with those two. We don't always get it right away. So it's sitting in that area. So everything I do in all my small videos, all the videos I put on LinkedIn will always try and empower them to be in charge of their strategy. And it will always talk to connecting more deeply with the customers.
Okay,
I don't put out a video pretty much that doesn't talk to that.
Yeah,
Most
I think
stuff
that's
in
great.
my videos and my posts always talk to that. My actual offer, which is a one-pager customer strategy, is all about aligning what you're about, your offer, and your special, uniqueness and superpower directly with the customer's motivation and connecting deeply with them on an emotional level and motivational level. So it's already inherent in my actual. It's exactly what I do in my offer. Yeah. And it's exactly what I talk to. And the customer experience, again, at the moment it's one-on-one, but it's always around having conversation about, I even did that with you, Ken, earlier, talking about what are your customers like. I started asking you questions around your customers and what are they really about and what's really driving them emotionally, mentally, and everything else. So that's what my whole offer is. So if you work with me, that's what we're going to be talking about. Yeah. To work out in a simple way what makes you unique in the way you do it.
Yeah, and be willing to change things initially. I know some of these big brands have had the same slogans for years.
Yeah.
However, even big brands do change logos at times. They change their messaging
they do change.
at times. So it's important to also be flexible and not worry about getting this absolutely perfect. I mean, I've been in the media for 40 years, and the Be Seen with the Media Queen, we just came out with that like 6 months ago, right? Just as a little catch cry.
Yeah. But you haven't totally changed your business, yeah? So there's a difference between going, sometimes there are businesses who totally pivot and go into a new direction. And sometimes the market requires that. But I've also seen a lot of small business owners, they stay with one business idea for half a year and then suddenly they're on to the next one. And it's totally different. I'm like, at the end of it, you've been a year and a half. I had some people I know, they've been on LinkedIn for a year and a half. And that time I've seen 5 different offers for them that had nothing to do with each other. Guess what? That person has no credibility left. Nothing. Everyone's gone.
Yep. True. And particularly when
people
can't change
like we change underwear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think particularly people get involved in multiple network marketing businesses, that can be a bit of a trap as well when they're promoting all these different things. So I think really, and the problem with network marketing, as much as yes, it may work for 1% of people where they make a hell of a lot of money out of it, and a lot of the products are often good in network marketing businesses, the problem is you don't have control over what happens with that network marketing business. You don't have control over whether the compensation structure is going to change or whether the business will go out of business and you're out there promoting it like a trooper, as I have done. I've been in many network marketing businesses, let me tell you, and a lot of that for me was that I didn't feel I belonged. I actually didn't feel I belonged anywhere, and I really loved wanting to belong in all these different places. I've realized later that that's what was going on for me underneath it all. As much as I love some of the products, but a lot of them I was involved in, they're no longer around. And nowadays I just focus on my core thing, which is helping people get their message to the masses through the mass media. Right? That's the core of what I do. So to be seen, heard, and know is the catch cry. And it's what I've done for over 20 years now. That's what I help people do. So it has been.
And I'm all about it. Yeah, and that's great. It's exactly what's needed, which is why I see Elwyn and I go, I know exactly what you're about. No confusion, yeah. And it does take time to evolve it. No one gets the strategy right just at the market research, working with people, working with clients and stuff. So we got to give ourselves grace when we're building our business for the first few years. But I always suggest evolving, not radical change unless we need to.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And being conscious of where you're at and how clear is your messaging. And you could actually ask people, you could say, well, can you let me know from what you've seen about me on social media, or just do a quick Google search of someone and okay, what does it tell you about that person? Is there consistent messaging across the board with what they've been putting out there? And if there isn't, maybe it's time to tweak some of your old social media profiles or the things, where you're not so active. It's important to be flexible and move with all of that.
Rome wasn't built in one day. Evolving is fine because people don't necessarily notice that massively, and it still builds more credibility because you're getting more and more honed in. You're getting clearer and clearer, so it's going in the right direction.
Yes, absolutely. Now we'll come to some of our comments for those joining on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us live. We're going to have a look at some of your comments and questions here. And talking of gurus, we've got the business guru watching from downtown Manila. Now, I actually know this business guru, and I know Jeff Veal. He is actually a business guru. He's been in the business a long time. He's like in his 70s, and he's an absolute legend. He's had multi-million-dollar companies, and so I could say yes, he could call himself a business guru. I'd say yes. In this case, that would be okay. I'd say that. We all have a superpower. You just have to use it. Yes, on our conversation around super. Yes, we all do have a superpower. And what is your superpower? Let us know. What is your superpower? If you know what your superpower is. We've got Yvonne Steve Tribe. Hello, Yvonne. And your right way may not be for all people, as we are all unique, especially us menopausal women. Yes, indeed. Those with the hot flushes. Absolutely. You're right. You know, what your way may not be for everyone. And I must say, out of all the coaching programs I've done, I haven't been very good at following systems to a T. I've tended to kind of grab a bit from here and a bit from there. I like that bit from that coach. I like that bit from there. It's kind of like what Ken was saying about ChatGPT, right? I don't use everything from ChatGPT either. I tweak it, I mold it, you know, and with a lot of the content and the ChatGPT and the brainwashing through the mainstream media, it is dumbing people down, right? So let's bring back the critical thinking, and particularly if you want more customers, let us know how you're thinking right now, how you're feeling right now. Share it on live videos, right? Get it out there. Let us know how you are unique. What is your unique selling proposition, as they say? What is your USP? What is unique about you? What is unique about you? Yvonne says here, it's so true. My girlfriend, even though she knew my biz, signed up with someone else, not enough touch points. Yes, when we're talking about the 7 hours of touch points that people need, or 7 hours of engagement. So she signed up with someone else, not enough touch points. She said she didn't realize it was the same business. How interesting, Yvonne. Absolutely, because you've got to be front of mind. You've got to be front of mind with people, right? When they think about someone in that industry, well, not only do they have to know that you're in that industry, right? So that's something around your messaging there, Yvonne, that could be looked at, right? But also, how can you be in front of people more often? How can you be seen, heard, and known more often in front of people? Yvonne says, I think the knowledge one she really liked in the Think and Grow Rich about knowledge, and also the subconscious mind. Yeah, thank you for that, Yvonne. That's great. And there's great videos actually on YouTube where it actually goes through the whole 13 principles from Think and Grow Rich. And you can just, in fact, I was driving from Gold Coast to Bribie Island the other day, and I actually put the video on of course, hands-free. But, you know, often I listen to these things as I'm driving or as I'm doing other things. I multitask and listen to this, and the Think and Grow Rich run is absolutely brilliant. It's always a great refresher. Yvonne says, I would have to suggest the exact opposite. Okay, I'm not sure what she's talking about here, but we'll find out in a moment. My husband has been in fine dining for 38 years and extremely well known in the industry. The one thing I can tell you is that if they give you a little extra, then they can actually lose their job and face a $6,000 fine. Oh, okay, that was about the bit about the shots. Oh, interesting, really? If they give you a little bit of an extra shot, oh my gosh. But what my husband will give you is serious entertainment. He will make you feel absolutely special like no other waiter. You denied that woman a tip because she was doing her job to keep her job. The personality does not come. Oh, interesting. Well, see, that's opinion, isn't it? That's opinion, right, on that one. And it's interesting. What do you think about that one, Ken? They can actually lose their job and face a $6,000 fine if they give you an extra.
I mean, that probably is totally true, but nonetheless, I do find even some of the more privately owned places like pubs and different things like that I like going to. If there's somebody there that I commonly see or know or different things like that, there's often a little bit of extra love, and it's just kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge kind of thing. They're not going to get caught. You know, so it's just, yeah, there's that risk, but in my lifetime, there's never been anybody I've known that's gotten caught. So
yeah. Well, I didn't even know about that $6,000 fine, but maybe it's because, you know, people need to watch their drinking and driving kind of thing. Maybe it's a matter of, well, like if you put one shot and if you sort of give it a little bit extra, that might actually take them over the limit. Maybe that's why that fine's in place. Or maybe it's just in Australia and not in America, possibly. I mean, it could be different around the world. Have you heard of that, Christine, before? The $6,000 fine if you give an extra little nip of the alcohol?
Sorry, I've got someone talking in the background now. No, I haven't heard of that.
Oh, okay. You haven't. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Yvonne. Very interesting. I didn't know about that either. So, most of those photos that we are now seeing of the wildlife are all fake, sadly. Yeah. So there's so many amazing wildlife photos. And like, when you've got 5 squirrels looking at you, you think, well, how would in nature 5 squirrels just stare at the camera like that? And I would say, yes, a lot of those are done by AI. And so while they might look okay, unfortunately, a lot of it is not real. So I still prefer the real photos, but I'd like to actually know if it's real or if it's fake. I'd actually,
Yeah.
when I share photos, I like to know. So please let us know, #real or #fake, #AI. Let us know what you're doing with your images. It's a great way. If you want more customers, be real, right? Just let people know.
Yeah,
Just go, hey,
exactly.
I used AI to make this image, or this is an image I actually found,
And
be honest.
here's just another thing when it comes to ChatGPT. So here's just another way you can use it as a tool, as a really good tool, and produce some really cool numbers. So in this article that I just recently wrote for my blog on my website, I was citing like how the obesity rates have risen since the 1960s, how heart disease has risen, and all this other stuff. And I think one of the stats was diabetes. It was one of the stats in there was diabetes. And I had found some articles that I had searched for on different rates on the raise of diabetes since it was since the food pyramid, the mainstream food pyramid was put out. What are the raise of the rates? Basically, the whole article is basically saying how the mainstream food pyramid is a recipe for diabetes. But anyhow, so I pulled in some of these articles that I'd been searching for. They were giving numbers and figures, and I I copied and pasted sections of those articles that gave the stats into ChatGPT, and I kept asking it for numbers and averages. It finally spit out to me as I said, okay, based on all the data that I've given you now, what is the rate of increase of diabetes since the 1960s? Interesting enough. So here again is how fun ChatGPT can actually be when you use it in a really cool way. So it spit out, I think it was 21% raise per year since 1960.
Wow.
Bringing a total of 1,260, I think it was 1,262% ish increase since the 1960s of diabetes.
Wow.
I would have never gotten that number on my own, and no other article. And when I presented that information, I actually presented it as a ChatGPT quote. So I quoted ChatGPT from that to let the people know, hey, I inputted these numbers. This is what it spit out. Now that's an intelligent way of using it, and that's okay to do. I did the research. I pulled in articles, copied and pasted it, and then asked it to do some calculations for me.
Fascinating. Yeah, which you might not find on Google or on other search engines. So yeah, there's absolutely, these tools can be used for good or they can be used for evil, right? It's the light,
Exactly.
the light and dark, and either way, whichever way you use it, let us know which way you've used it so we know. I mean, it's phenomenal what some of these AI tools can do at the moment. You can have them speaking like you, looking like you. I mean, you can have these AI tools speaking in different languages now that have your face speaking, but it's actually coming out in different languages, right?
That's really scary.
Phenomenal what you can do, and this is just the beginning. So I think it's important that we do retain our critical thinking, because that heart-to-heart connection will never be there with robots. It will never be there with the AI world.
No.
And while there's people having relationships with robots, apparently, I mean, maybe they're better than some humans sometimes in some ways. I mean, the blow-up dolls have been around for ages. Now they're animated blow-up dolls. But anyway, we won't go there on this show. Maybe that could be our truth about sexual transmutation show that we'll do.
No. Let's not do that, please.
The mind boggles what people are doing. But the fact is, Elon Musk said by 2040 he thinks there's going to be a million humanoid robots. I'm sure he said a million, or was it a billion?
Well, I think it's the World Economic Forum that's talking about how they're gonna put some of these stuff into humans as well. So transhuman is the next thing on their list. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 1 billion. Apologies. Yeah, 1 billion humanoid robots is the Tesla CEO Elon Musk says he believes there'll be 1 billion humanoid robots by 2040, which isn't that far away. And they'll be doing things like folding your clothes for you. They'll be cooking meals for you, all that kind of stuff, right? Unbelievable.
And probably other things too, but we won't go there right now,
And
where they could
probably
take this.
other things. And I'd say batteries probably would be needed at different times. And that's why Elon Musk, of course, being the man behind Tesla, of course, these battery powered cars blowing up all over the place. Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens down the track with all these battery powered things out there.
And then you have a car that, a trip for Vegas to Las Vegas for me, like it's usually about a 4.5, 5 hour trip. With the Tesla, it's about 8 to 10 hours.
And then it may blow up.
This is why the Teslas are tanking right now, because nobody wants them anymore.
Yeah, because they're dangerous by the sound of things, right?
Yeah.
And do your own research on that one. However, a lot of this new technology may not be as good as you may think initially. So do your own research with all of this. We've got Yvonne here saying the company she's involved with has been around for 50 years and the other 130 years she's been in another company. I didn't promote product or promote myself, so people like, love and trust me, and I've been with one company for 13 years, the other company for less, but they helped save my life. And if you're coming from a place of the heart and serving and caring for others, there shouldn't be a problem, I think she's saying. So I think what she's saying is with the network marketing companies that yes, there are some great ones out there, and I think always come from the heart and share your personal story if you are involved with these network marketing companies. However, just get that you cannot rely on that generally as your sole source of income, because you have no control over whether the company's going to go down or not. So if you're in business wanting customers and you want a longer term approach, something you can actually control fully, then look at starting your own business or look at partnering with someone, etc. However, just get network marketing. And there are some good ones. However, unfortunately, a lot of them are not so good. They come and go. And always do your research into the different companies that you work with too, particularly if you're going to be putting a lot of your time into marketing companies and products that you have no control over where they come from, how they're put together, all that kind of stuff. And often with a lot of these companies, you're very limited with how you can market the business as well, because there's, big marketing engines behind them and they want things promoted a certain way. So you're really limited with how you can actually promote that in your marketing and in the sharing of your message. So before we share our links, etc., and how we can work together, Christine, any final thoughts on the truth about your customers today?
So my final thought would be really remembering we're dealing with humans still. So remembering that we are dealing with humans with all our traits, our ups and downs and our emotions and everything else. How can you best service them? How can you best be of help to them? What is it that they need that you can actually help them achieve or offer them? And do it with heart and do it with authenticity and be yourself and be your best version. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Beautiful. And how can people work with you, Christine?
So I offer one-on-one sessions at the moment, which we create a one-pager customer strategy blueprint, which is really understanding what I've been talking about, going deep with our customers, their motivations, their emotions, what they want to feel and need, and the beliefs, and what is special about you, your superpower, your vision, your purpose, and what and how you do it. And we mix that into the unique value proposition and make sure they align, and we make sure it comes through in a credible way, quite literally in our product and service, in our customer experience, in our brand positioning and our messaging. And that's what I'm all about. So that's the big signature offer. I do it one-on-one, but I'm just about to launch a group offer in May, and DIY group offer. So that should be fun. And I also do other smaller one sessions with people. It's all small business and entrepreneurs that I mostly work with these days, which I enjoy the most. And I'm just building my business. I used to work mainly with big businesses, then came the lockdowns. I had no business, and now I'm creating a new business for small business owners.
Beautiful. Well done, Christine. And I'm going to be on your show tomorrow. So can you share a bit
super excited. Yeah, so I run on LinkedIn. This is my main platform. If you want to find me or connect with me, I'm definitely on LinkedIn. Yes, I'm on Facebook. I don't use it much. You won't see me reply to very much there. Same with Instagram. I'm very much LinkedIn, because if you're a one-man band, it's quite hard to be across all the platforms equally well until you can afford someone to help you with that. So I'm on LinkedIn, and what I do, I have a weekly show. I started it over a year ago, Edward Sear actually said, you got to do live. I'm like, okay, I got to do live. So I came up with the idea of snappy chats, business snappy chats. So it's all about learning and growing together, because it can get to be a really lonely ride when you're in business on your own or a small business. And we can all learn and grow together, because guess what? We have most of the same challenges at some point in our business. Yeah. And so this is all about sharing a challenge. So it's a snappy chat. It's about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And it's a snappy chat where we talk just like this. It's a conversation. We talk about challenge that you have experienced and worked through in your business, and what can we all learn and grow, what can we all learn from it so we can all grow from it. Basically, that's the theme. And it's always a great conversation.
Beautiful. And I'll be on there tomorrow. And if others want to come on your show, I'm so excited. Thank you, Christine. If others come on your show, how can they best reach out to you to see if there's a fit there?
So reach out to me on LinkedIn. If they're on LinkedIn, reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me there, DM me there. In my link tree that you shared as well is actually a calendar link, but I only have so much space for conversations one-on-one. So making sure that it's the right fit and stuff. And if you're interested in my services, love to chat to you as well, of course. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. And I do have a list. It's quite a long list, but I'm always happy to put people on there as well. And then at some point, you'll definitely be on there.
Beautiful. So for those who are your ideal people to have on your show, so that we can sort of weed out some of the people that might not be exactly a right fit, what sort of people are you ideally looking for to interview for your show?
Small business owners. So they could be in a small business, but I'm looking for the owner, the founder, entrepreneur. So I'm looking for the actual person that started the company, and they could be up to 50 employees. But a lot of the people I talk to are one-man band, two-man bands, 10-man bands. Yeah,
so people who can share their challenges in business.
Exactly, that we can all learn and grow from when we're like trying to do it ourselves.
Beautiful. I love that, Christine. And for those who are joining us on the podcast afterwards, and if you haven't tuned into our podcast yet, please do that. We are on Spotify and all the podcast channels. You can connect with Christine at linktree/Christine Bell, and I'll spell that for you, linktr.ee/Christine, spelled with a K, Kristine, and then Bell, like the bell that you ring, Bell, Christine Bell. All right. And what's a great quote or motto that you could share with us today, Christine?
Well, so the one I very much use in my business and has resonated the most with me, I think it's an actual truth, is Maya Angelou. She's a great, was a great poetess. I don't know, is that the right word in English? I don't know, but a great human being. And one of the quotes is, people don't remember what you say, they don't remember what you do, but they do remember how you make them feel. And if we're in the business of human connection, I always try to make people feel good, and if you can make people feel good, then they're more likely to hang around, and they're more likely to recommend you to others as well.
Yes.
And ideally, feel really good on the inside, not just, I gave you an ice cream and now you feel happy for a little while,
Yes. Actually, just on that point, what are just some very quick tips on how to make people feel good when you're dealing with them in business? What are some quick tips of things you can do to increase the feel good factor?
Yeah, stop, breathe, listen. Listen. If you've spoken to them before or you read up on who they are, find something you like about them. People like a compliment, an authentic compliment, not just a wishy-washy one. If you have, noticed something about them, when I spoke to Ken and what stood out about him, how amazing and how passionate he is about what he does and really wanting to help people achieve sustainable results, then that's something that I catch on to. So the next time I talk to Ken, I already am aware and I acknowledge what I've heard before about him. So acknowledging people, making them feel respected, seen and heard, listen, and ask questions. People like to ask questions and focus on them, not just yourself. Some people come into sales school and they're like, I'm this amazing person, And you're like, but you never spoke about me. You never talked about me. You never talked to me.
Yes.
So that's be my recommendation.
Great tips. I love that. What's in it for me? With them, right? That's the channel that everyone's tuned into. What's in it for them, right? And people love talking about themselves. So, I love those tips. Absolute gold, Christine. It's been an absolute pleasure having me on the show. It's been brilliant. And Ken, my co-host, how can people connect with you, my friend?
Before I get into that, I've got to clear one thing up here. So the article that I spoke of that I was writing, so I've actually recently produced 2, And the one that I produced that stats from, the title I gave was wrong. It's actually from my article that basically is entitled "What Happens When You Listen to Most Doctors' Nutritional Advice." And this is talking about most mainstream doctors that have been trained in a system that's outdated, and maybe in the entire years of their schooling, they get one semester on nutrition. And these are the numbers that are coming across the board. So the 21% increase per year times 60 years equals 1,260% increase in diabetes. That's in relation to that article. And so I just wanted to make that clear in case anybody goes to my website and checks out my blog. That's where that's found.
Beautiful. Thank you for clearing that
You're
up.
welcome. And then how to reach me, how to get a hold of me is through my link tree, well, you don't need the W's anymore. So linktr.ee/FatFighterKen. And on there, you're going to find at the top of the list a few very important links. One of them is a link to my brand new masterclass, the 7 Master Keys to Weight Loss. It's a free masterclass, and this is going to give you a very amazing basic foundation to begin off of. It goes over all the basics. It's only an hour and 15 minutes. It's packed full of great stuff. So that's one. Number 2, you will see on there a link to connect with me on Facebook. Connect with me. Love to have you a part of that network. Absolutely. 3 is a link to book an appointment with me, a one-on-one with me. An opportunity for me to get to know you and you to get to know me as well. Even if we decide not to work together, even if you decide not to hire me, I don't care. All I want is an opportunity to connect with you on a personal level and get to know you better. Lastly, you'll find a link to my website, number 4 down the list. And there you can actually find my blog. My blog is brand new. It's only been open for 2.5 weeks. I have many more articles that are going to be coming, bombshell articles. I'm not just about creating just the typical article. I'm about speaking my brand voice, which is telling the truth, exposing the lies of the industry. And my articles are just as bold. That's probably what you've already caught on to. So anyhow, that's how you can connect with me. And Aldwin, I'm going to beat you to it. My quote of the day is treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. And that is by Donald J. Trump.
That's a great quote. I love it. And for those on the audio, you can connect with Ken at linktree/FatFighterKen. That's linktr.ee/FatFighter, FIGHTER Ken, FatFighter Ken. All right, brilliant. Thank you so much. And for those who want to connect with me, go to linktree/Aldwin. That's linktr.ee/Aldwin. ALDWYN is how that is spelt for those on the audio. And on there, you will find a whole lot of free resources. You will also find a link to my calendar link. There are limited times for the month. So if you do want to have a connection call, see how we can support each other, or if you are ready to be seen, heard, and known through the mass media to build your customers and also to build your cash flow, then reach out, send me a private message on any of my socials or connect on my calendar link there. And I would love to chat with you. Also, we're always looking for people to interview on our shows as well. We have Media Queen TV,
Yes.
Total Truth show here I do with Ken, and also Media Mavens show I do with an amazing lady from Germany called Kirsten Linartz. And we've just done about 7 episodes of that. So that's usually on a Tuesday night. We're not doing one tonight because she's traveling from Dubai back to Germany. However, next week we are going to be back with the next Media Mavens show episode as well. And that's all around health, wealth, and wisdom. So that will be great. We should get you on that.
Why haven't you ever invited me to be on that show yet?
We'll get you guys. I think both of you would be good on that show, actually. So we'll have a chat about that. And stay connected, guys. We've got the Global Good News Challenge every single month. Every month. And in fact, for April now, we have a 4-day challenge, 4 days in a row. I challenge you to get on a live video on your social media platform of choice and share your name. And we can all do that. Share your name, what you do, right? Considering what we've talked about here today, what you do succinctly, and 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. All right, let's share some more good news. The whole idea is to help decrease depression and suicide rates and lift the energy on the planet. It's absolutely free. Hashtag Global Good News Challenge. We'll share the challenge videos out all over our socials. All the details on how to participate are in the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page, pinned to the top of the page. If you missed everything I just said, just go there to the link tree. All roads lead to Rome. Go in that link tree and you'll see all of it. linktr.ee/Aldrin. And I look forward to seeing your Global Good News challenges. And in fact, I'm going to start my 4-day one today. So you'll be seeing my videos going out soon over the next 4 days for April. You can start anytime within the month, but it must be 4 days in a row for April, being the 4th month. If you miss a day, go back to day 1 and start again. Okay. And then for May, we've got a 5-day challenge and it goes on right through to December. And thank you to all our Good News Crusaders around the world who have done a Global Good News Challenge. And my quote for today is, if you don't appreciate your customers, someone else will. You don't appreciate your customers, someone else will. And of course, appreciating is lifting people up. What can you do to make people feel good? Now, of course, it's up to the individual how they're going to individually feel, but, you can do your best to, as Christine said, listen, be an active listener, really care about people, tune in. What can you do to be of service? There's no greater purpose than being of service. And for those watching live, thank you so much. I see a few more people hopped on Instagram here. We've got Fluffy Crunch. We've got Kaz here. Thank you so much for joining us. And for those who've tuned in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, X, thank you so much for joining us live. And if you're watching the replay or live right now, let us know, what is something you got out of this show today? What is a gem that you've got out of the show? Maybe something you're going to put into action in your business. Let us know in the comments. And if you have any questions for any of us, pop those in there as well. If you've really enjoyed the show, then please share the love. Make sure you check out our Total Truth Show Facebook page. You can see all our previous 60 episodes on there, and also on YouTube channel, podcast outlets, etc. So if you really loved it, we'd love a review. We'd love a review from you. Please share the love with the reviews. And that's another way to win customers, right? Get more reviews, Christine. We didn't really touch on that one today. But reviews is fantastic, of course. And let's share the love. Let's look at ways we can support each other and, help each other grow in business and in life. And giving a nice review is a lovely way to make people feel important and feel loved and feel appreciated. Give reviews is another great tip I'll add to how to make your clients feel great. All right, before we wrap up today, any final words from you, Christine or Ken?
I'm all good. I'm all talked out, I must admit. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Christine. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And Ken, final words from you?
No final words. Just work on your brand. And I you know what, guys, I would encourage you to reach out to Christine. Christine gave a lot of gold here on today's episode. And I know I kind of hijacked her to kind of help me strategize a little bit. So I kind of hijacked a little bit of the time, but nonetheless, the strategy, the nuggets she gave to me, she gave on today's show, can work across the board. So take that for yourself. Go listen to the replay. Reach out to Christine. She's got a lot of very valuable stuff, and she's got a beautiful smile. Come on, you guys, look at that smile. All right. So anyhow, that's it. You're welcome.
She does. And tune into the LinkedIn Live tomorrow morning. What time are we going live, Christine?
10 a.m. Sydney. That's 7 p.m. New York.
Yes, beautiful. And that's 9 a.m. for Brisbane people. Queensland is still until next weekend when daylight.
Until next week, it's always confused me. So now I just say the times in Sydney because I cannot work out the AST.
Yes. AST.
Hey, just think of how Aldwin and I feel when the time changes, and then we have to figure out how that works. And oh gosh.
It's a joy, and it's never at the same time. So next week is like, okay, now we got at least some months where it's the same.
Yep.
It is.
Thank you so much.
challenging. Thank you so much, Christine. And another way to win your customers over, make life easy for them. So if you have time conversion issues, then make sure you put the time conversions in your marketing so that people know when to come and join you live, or if you're doing webinars, masterclasses, etc. Right? You might want to put the
100%.
LA time and the German time and the Sydney time, etc. So much love. Thank you so much. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you.